Alright, what up YouTube? Today, we're gonna be talking about like future endeavors. What's I plan for my future. Recently I've been thinking a lot about my hobbies, and how like they play roles in my life. Such as like language learning, sports. When I'm looking at like sports, I mean like exercise in general. Like when I exercise, what's the reason I exercise? And when I was looking at why I was exercising, like, I don't know, to be honest. The only answer I could give when one of my friends asked me that question, I was like, oh, just because it's like important for your health. It's the only answer I could give. I mean, there's also secondary answers with it, like, obviously. I exercise because like, it's fun, obviously. I got goals also. With exercising, I'm trying to acquire some moves. Like, a move I am trying to acquire with my exercising journey is a standing split. If you can imagine, I would stand up. I'll do it in another video. But like person standing right here, you want this leg to stand up like this. Like, so imagine you're walking, and this is your leg. You want it to go up while the other leg's on the ground. Like that. Imagine that. That's something I'm trying to acquire. I am not there yet. I think I have like 25% left there. It's not at a 180-degree angle yet. It's more than a 90-degree so far. It's not there yet. And other than that, I was thinking like, oh yeah, it's like, I think like fit people look cooler. Also, that's another reason I exercise. But then he was like, on a more deeper level, like, is there other reasons? Like, I was like, no, I just like, not really. He's like, interesting. Should try, maybe think of something. And I was like, that's true. I came like to the conclusion, like, even like a lot of people have goals and mindsets, but they always have the goal. And they say the best way to attain your goal is consistency. And I think that's true for the most part. I think 90% of your goal should be consistency. If you put in the effort, you'll reach there someday. But like they say, time is finite. It's not infinite. So sometimes you have to, like I say, maybe speed up your goals. Not really speed up your goals. It might make them less enjoyable than they already would. But maybe push yourself a little bit more than what you're doing already for your goal. Like currently I plan to do that split, or like, yeah, currently I, maybe in like a year. That's a pretty far distance. But maybe I could reach it even farther if I push myself even further, go past the consistency I'm already giving it itself. Like another thing with language, like the reason I learn language is purely for entertainment. Like the reason I learn Japanese, yeah, it's just for entertainment. Like when people ask me that, they're always like, really? Just for entertainment? I'm like, yeah. Like, really? You didn't learn it to speak to other people? I was like, no. Why? It's like, why would I want to speak to another person? Like, it's fun to speak to another person, don't get me wrong, but I was like, I already speak English. Like, I don't even speak to the half of the other English population. Like, why am I gonna focus putting effort in something else? Like, I was like, okay, that kind of sounds really awkward, like strange, like kind of incorrect. What I'm like trying to say is that like the reason like I'm learning language is like for fun. And I was thinking about like, is it just for fun? I mean, yeah, kind of. I study consistent. I study every day, but I said, let's see, my goal is to reach fluency in 7 years. I was like, oh, that's a long time. I'll get there. Like I did the calculations in the math. If I study for like an hour every day, even take some breaks off, but like during the weekends, maybe pound like 2 4-hour days back to back consistently for like weeks and years, then I'll get there in 7 years. Like calculating all my like hours put into this, I would. But I thought to myself, is that worth it? Yeah, let's say I do reach my goal. My goal is like, my goal for Japanese is like, I was thinking like, do I have one? Like, before I'm like, this is still currently my goal. It's pretty shallow one, but my goal is just like to be able to just watch TV, like, entertainments. That's all I really care for. But then I was like looking at it like, yes, one day I do reach that. Is that it? Is that really what I want? Because even if you do reach your goals, I mean, it kind of feels like it's the end at some point. So I was thinking like, is this really what I want? And I was thinking, yeah, it kind of is what I really want. I don't know. But I was like, maybe when I do reach that point, I was like, we could think of something on the way. So now I'm thinking about like, the way I learn is like, I am trying to learn the most natural way, or like a way that's enjoyable for me. So I've been learning how like I view how I grew up, like stuff that you don't really pay attention to, but like you do, since you will or do here and there. Like people will talk about it and they're like, oh yeah, I did that. For example, like I think it was 2014 or 16. Who remembers like the Puppy Monkey Baby like Super Bowl commercial? And I was like, yeah, I know that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I know that. It's something like, if you like sports or from like America, you like, oh yeah, I know that. And I was thinking like, in like Japanese, like, hold on, like in Japan, like they got like commercials too. And I was like, every time I talk to a language speaker, like they're like, oh, I don't know that commercial, like. But if I would like talk to a native about it, they're like, oh yeah, I know like a famous Japanese commercial. Like I was talking to more recently, one of my Japanese friends, about this Coca-Cola commercial in Japan. It was like a similar Coca-Cola commercial. Like it's hard to describe, but like it was very similar to like the old school Doritos commercials. Like if you eat the Doritos, like you're gonna get the huzz. I was like, bro, it's similar to that in like Coca-Cola. Like if you're drinking Coca-Cola, like in Japanese, like in Japan, the anxiety will wear off. Like the people's X's will fall off their face in the commercial, and like people would you can start talking to people now. I was like, what? I was like dying laughing, because I was like, yo, that is so strange. Like it's just something like so subtle. Like I was thinking like, this should be my drive. Like, what makes people native in their own language? What makes somebody native? Like, that's what I want to do. Push, like, evolve my goal into. Like, just because you're born somewhere does not really mean you're native. Like, yes, obviously, you're born there. You have the pass, like, you have your passport. Say you're born there. But what is it to be native? In my perspective, a native person is somebody who can relate with their culture. Still disagree with their culture a lot, but still in the end love their culture. To have ties to something so subtle like commercials, or like certain ways how like going to school, like how they went to school, bus, car, train, subway, the friends they made, like the style they talk in. It's very similar to your culture. Like, each culture has a different way each one does that. And I was thinking that's like what I want my end goal to be for Japanese. Like I want it to be like I'm almost native. Like basically, like if you talk to me about like almost like something even subtle, I'd be like, yeah, I know that. It's like very relatable. Like I've lived that past experience. Like that's how I was raised. That's what I'm thinking of moving my goal into, like shifting it, change it to something that like is more meaningful for me. Like I would enjoy like just watching TV. Like yeah, sure, that sounds nice and all, but in the end I was like, yeah, even if I do reach that goal, like that's kind of what I do right now. I understand like 30%. Some days it's way higher, but some days it's way lower than 30%. Like, I'll tell you, it's like, it's just off and on currently. But I was like, hold on, the days where I fully understand, it's very enjoyable. I feel like I'm getting rewarded for the time I put in effort for learning the language. But then I was like, okay, even if I like imagine myself in the future, I hit that goal. It's at the end of the road. So that's why I wanted to evolve it into something more fluid, you know, something attainable that still hits the check mark of my previous goal, but something that even surpasses my previous goal I already set on myself. The chain I set before is just a blocking stone to something even bigger. That's how I wanted to end this video about like my future endeavors of something I want to do. Peace.